Hey guys, it's John Moore with the Texas College Football Show, and we are coming to you with another coaching hot board update. Now, we called it the coaching carousel last week, but we're just going to do it a coaching hot board update. And the reason we've got to do that, hey, before we do that, by the way, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the like if you like the show. It's free. It's always going to be free, but it just helps us if we get subscriptions up and we get some likes, get these videos out there, have a little fun. We are covering all of Texas FBS football. So that's all Division I FBS college football playoff eligible schools in the state of Texas. We count them down every week, and we have other shows like this. Now, let's do the update. And the reason I wanted to come in and do another update, and I may not have another one unless another job is open or someone gets hired somewhere, we'll know. But we're not going to probably see any hirings unless it's somebody who is not a coach right now who might get hired. Other than that, we probably won't see any hirings come off this board until at least December, when playoffs are decided. Some of the schools that won't make the playoffs, or if there's coordinators at certain schools that might find, Steve Sarkisian took the job at Texas, but stayed for the national championship game that year and called that before coming to Texas and taking over. Now, what schools are available right now? So right now, with the LSU firing Brian Kelly, that puts LSU up there. You got LSU, Florida, Penn State, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Stanford, University of Alabama, Birmingham, Trent Dilfer there. You got Oregon State, UCLA, Virginia Tech, and Colorado State. Now, those first five are basically kind of the big ones we're going to focus on today. What we're going to do is we're going to go into each school of those first five. We're going to tell you who the coach was that got fired. Then we're going to talk about every name that's been mentioned. Now, some of them are far-fetched and out there, and we'll discuss why those guys are not going to get it, or why it's just a pipe dream. Because every school, I don't care who you are, LSU is guilty of this, Texas, A&M, everybody thinks their school is the number one school and should be the number one target for everyone out there. It's just not. It never is. There's only truly probably 3 or 4 jobs that sit above everything else. And then everyone under that, there's a lot of them that kind of fall in that under there. True blue bloods, there might be 5 total true blue bloods. You could make a case for about 8 or 9. And then you got really good jobs, upper echelon jobs that maybe aren't quite blue bloods, like, something like Clemson, where Clemson's jumped into up there. They're not a blue blood, but they are very high on there. A&M's getting up that ladder. They're not a blue blood, but let's say if they were to win a national championship, no, they would not be a blue blood, but they would, of course, jump up because A&M and the resources have a lot to do with it also. So here's what we'll do. We'll go to each school, who's got fired, what names are mentioned. Then we'll go to who I think the top 3 candidates in order are. In other words, my 1, 2, and 3, and it'll start from let me see what you're looking at. Your left to right will be in the order that I think who will get hired and who won't. Now, some of these fan bases at some of these schools are going to hate this because they don't think what's going to happen. But I did my homework. I've looked at people that cover these teams, who they think it'll be. I've looked at the national ones, who they think it'll be. There are some that throw stupid stuff out there. An example, I saw one person say that LSU should go to Nick Saban and say, we'll give you $25 million and you can come for 4 years, rebuild it. Miss Terry will probably like that. I don't think Nick Saban put it out today and said these numbers are stupid, and I don't think he's going to take it. But you know what? Why not take a swing at a home run? Swing at a home run or whatever, and make some sort of a home run pitch to somebody. But that's what we'll do, and we're going to start with the job that I think is the top job out there, and that's the LSU job. Brian Kelly was fired last week. So who do I think who are the candidates that have been mentioned for this job? We got Lane Kiffin. Come on, get in there. I don't know if you guys are seeing that, trying to download here. Let's see here. So you got Lane Kiffin, Marcus Freeman, John Summerall, Eli Drinkwitz, James Franklin, Joe Brady, Dabo Sweeney, Mike Elko. That's another name that's been put out there who he's not. I don't think Mike. I mean, of course, they're going to probably call Mike Elko, but he won't live for that job. You got Nick Saban and you got Jimbo Fisher. Now, who do I think will be the top 3 in what order? I don't think LSU fans will like this, but I'll go ahead and tell you. I think the most likely guy to get the job is going to be John Summerall. I think second is probably Joe Brady. He's the offensive coordinator right now for the Buffalo Bills. And I think third on that list is Lane Kiffin. Everybody wants Lane Kiffin. I just don't think Lane Kiffin is going to leave Ole Miss right now. I don't know that he will. Well, I say I don't think he will. I think other jobs fit it. There is a chance he'll be on top threes on a couple. Actually, I do think he's favored for one job. But I don't think Lane Kiffin, I think it's going to be hard to pry him away. He made a case the other day that money doesn't necessarily mean all to him. It's about being happy and thinking if he can do it where he is. They're close to being a playoff team this year with the win over Oklahoma. We'll see what happens there. The next second best job, I think, is the Florida Gator job. Now, who are names being mentioned for that? Obviously, Lane Kiffin, Eli Drinkwitz, Jed Fish from Washington, Rhett Lashley, James Franklin, Jeff Brom, Alex Golish. He's Alex Golish on there. Marcus Freeman, that's another swing and a home run there. Brent Key from Georgia Tech. And Glenn Schumann, a name that's kind of come up. He's the defensive coordinator for Georgia. I think Florida thinks they don't want to go out and get a coordinator. That's not necessarily the wrong choice. I think you got to look at that. I think they think that they can just get Lane Kiffin to come over there and take it, and they might can. So who are the top three, and who do I think it might be? In this job, I think Lane Kiffin's the front runner right now. They could – look, he was born and raised in Florida. That's where he grew up. He coached in Florida before. I think second on their list is probably someone like Eli Drinkwitz, and I think Glenn Schumann is a name to watch. This is a guy to watch. The defensive coordinator for your biggest rival, kind of, Georgia hired a defensive coordinator for one of their big rivals, and look where that got him. Glenn Schumann's been at Georgia since Kirby Smart took over. He's done a hell of a job. Those defenses are always top. He knows how to run a program. He knows how to run a program the way Kirby Smart runs a program, who learned how to run a program from Nick Saban, who knows how to run a program. Glenn Schumann might be the right hire. Now, Florida Gators aren't going to want to hear that because they're going to think that we're just the best job out there and we should just go get the home run hire. It's not necessarily that. The third best job I think out there right now is Penn State. Now, who is up for that? The names that are being mentioned is Matt Rule, Jeff Brom, Eli Drinkwitz again, Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State. Brian Hartline is another name that's being mentioned out there. Brian Hartline right now is the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. That's another one out there. Matt Campbell's being mentioned out there from Iowa State. There's other names. Every one of these three bring up Urban Meyer or Nick Saban or, something like that. That ain't going to happen. Jimbo Fisher was a name that I heard with the LSU job, which I think would be hysterical. But because I think the athletic director at LSU was at A&M, and I think that's why they're wondering if he was friends with Jimbo. And they went after Jimbo before Jimbo got that wonderful extension that worked out so well for Texas A&M. Who are the three that I think that are the most likely to get this job? Well, there's one clear front runner, and the clear front runner is Matt Rule from Nebraska. I think the second is Matt Hartline, and then third is Kenny Dillingham. I think one of those three will get the job. Matt Hartline. Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. Penn State is a big job. They are a big rival of Ohio State, not the biggest rival, but that's a name to watch. And I think Brian Hartline is going to get a job, and he would not leave Ohio State unless it was a job he thought he could build something. Kenny Dillingham's a name to watch, too, with what he's done at Arizona State. I think fourth on the list of jobs that are out there is the Arkansas job. Sam Pittman is gone, and it's interesting to wonder what will happen with Sam Pittman. A lot of these guys that have been let go are names that have been mentioned as possibly going somewhere else. And if they get a job, some of them have that little clause in their contract where you can it's a mitigation clause that means if you get a job anywhere and you get a new salary somewhere, some of them have TV on it also, that can come off the buyout that they're paying you when you leave. I think Sam has one. I know that Brian Kelly has one. So if Brian Kelly were to take, say, the Penn State job, come back and I know he wasn't really mentioned there, but say he took it and they paid him $4 or $5 million to take that job, that would come off the buyout that LSU has for him. But LSU has to pay him outright, I think, if he doesn't have a job within 30 days, and he's supposedly supposed to be looking for a job. This one has Rhett Lashley, Ryan Silverfield, John Sumrall. Glenn Schumann, again, is another name. I think the only reason he would leave Kirby Smart was if it was a SEC job. And then you got Bobby Petrino, who is a very much a long shot. He is the interim head coach right now, but I don't think he's going to get it. Who are my top three? My top three are Ryan Silverfield, who I think has done a great job at Memphis. I think this is the guy that might get this job, actually. I know Rhett Lashley is from there. He grew up in Arkansas. That's another name to watch, but he's got a lot of money at SMU. There are billionaires there that can pour into that program. You got some big alumni from the Pony Express days. So he might stay at SMU, and he makes good money there. And he's done a great job at SMU. John Sumrall is another name to watch there. John Sumrall is a guy that I really think John Sumrall, like I said, has a chance to get the job up at LSU. I don't think that I think everybody thinks LSU. I went back up there on that. I think John Sumrall might be the leader in the clubhouse, in my opinion, on that. But when you come back down to Arkansas, if he doesn't get that LSU job, I certainly think he would be a name to watch for that Arkansas job. But Silverfield also, Rhett Lashley, that would be a lateral move to Arkansas, but the facilities and what they have there are pretty good. And that's a big job. And it's obviously a job that's a little more prestigious than the SMU job. It just is. All right. I think the fifth and final one we're going to go over is Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, they've got a few here. They've got Zach Robinson, who is the offensive coordinator right now for the Atlanta Falcons. G.J. Kinney, we know that name from Texas State. Eric Morris, Colin Klein, the offensive coordinator for Texas A&M, and Jeff Traylor down at UTSA. Who are the three that I think are going to get it? This is the surprise for me. I saw somebody bring this one up. They made a case. He's not being talked about. He's one of the Texas FBS school coaches, and I think that he might be a front runner for this job. And I think that's Eric Morris. Eric Morris has done something else at North Texas, and it's amazing. At my beginning of the year, I had Eric Morris possibly on a hot seat because in 2 years he hadn't done well there, but he needed to build the defense. The resources at Oklahoma State would supersede unbelievably what he has there at North Texas. I think he would do wonderful there. He could hire his own staff and bring them in, get a good defensive coordinator. He would probably have some transfers. Maker might follow him there, who was just a walk-on that he turned into. I mean, this is a quarterback guru here. This is a guy that's kind of like a Steve Sarkisian. He's turning out guys that are getting drafted right now. He's got ties to Cam Ward. He's got ties to Mateer. I mean, he's got ties to some guys out there that are doing well, and he was a big recruiter for some of them. Look at Zach Robinson. This is another guy to watch. He has played quarterback for Oklahoma State. This is a guy that Oklahoma State people think they want. Some of the people covering it are going, do you really want a guy who's never been a head coach coming in? And yeah, I know that he was a quarterback here, but look at what Cliff Kingsbury did at Texas Tech. Everybody loved him and they brought him in, but there's two coordinators here in Zach Robinson. And I think Colin Klein definitely gets a hard look. He's a Big 12 guy. He played for Kansas State. He's doing well at A&M. And I think he is next up to get a job. And I think that this might be one where they go, watch these three names. I think one of these three names might be the name that ends up at Oklahoma State. Now, we said there would be more jobs we thought would open up. Some will come because some of these coaches will take these jobs that open up. So it'll open up these jobs and those jobs will be sought after by others. But there were three big ones that we said last week that were possible. They were on the hot seat. One of those hot seats came true in Brian Kelly. So we still got to watch the other two. Brian Kelly, I put him as one of the three on the hot seat last week. He gets fired. Look for Mike Norvell at Florida State. Hugh Freeze at Auburn. Don't know if either one of those will get fired, but there is a chance. I know that there are grumblings of going in. Hugh Freeze has not won an SEC game. And Mike Norvell has just, since that year, he went 13-0, and he didn't make the Final Four because of the quarterback injuries that he was dealing with. He has not done well or rebounded. He had a good win at the beginning of the year, but he has just not done anything else. I think that Mike Norvell might be someone to watch also. And if that job opens up at Florida State, That and Auburn will obviously jump up the rankings. They'll pass easily Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Where they fall in the other three would probably, I think Auburn might get up there around where Florida is, maybe. Florida State, definitely. I think Penn State would start to slide just a little bit on those. And then obviously LSU's already open. Guys, this is fun. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And until next week when we count them down, see you at the gridiron.